The breaking point. The Galactic Federation's Grand Assembly Hall orbited the magnificent gas giant Altaris IV, its crystalline spires and gravity-defying architecture representing 10,000 years of collaborative alien engineering. Inside, representatives from over 300 species gathered beneath the massive central dome, where holographic stars mapped out territories, trade routes, and disputed regions across 5 spiral arms of the Milky Way. Humanity had arrived late to this cosmic dance. Just 2 centuries after their first tentative steps beyond their solar system, humans found themselves seated at the outskirts of the assembly hall, far from the influential core where elder races like the Galactic Meridians and Vesperi dominated conversations. The human delegation occupied a small section designed for developing species, a polite term for those considered barely worth acknowledging. Ambassador Elena Kovacs stood at her terminal, waiting for recognition from the assembly speaker. For the 12th time in as many minutes, her request to address the gathering was shuffled down the queue. She could see the smirks on alien faces, the dismissive gestures, the deliberate overlooking of Earth's concerns. This wasn't new. For 70 years, since humans first gained observer status in the Federation, they had endured this treatment. The Assembly recognizes the delegate from Earth, the speaker finally announced, the translation coming through with a tone that somehow managed to convey boredom and contempt simultaneously. Elena stepped forward, her dark blue uniform stark against the extravagant garments of other species. Distinguished members of the Federation, she began, I come before you one final time to address the systematic violation of the Third Accord in the Orion Spur. For the past decade, Earth colonies have reported over 300 incursions into recognized human space. Mining operations have been sabotaged, research stations raided, and civilian transports harassed. We have provided evidence linking these attacks to proxy forces funded by members of this very assembly. A ripple of murmurs spread through the hall, but Elena continued. Most recently, the scientific outpost on Proxima Centauri V was destroyed with all hands, 78 researchers and their families. The attack signature matches vessels previously identified as operating under Zolak military contractors. The massive, 6-limbed form of Grand Counselor Staveric rose from the central podium. His exoskeleton clicked with irritation as he spoke. The Federation tires of these baseless accusations. Perhaps if humans spent more time developing proper defensive capabilities instead of whining about imagined threats, you wouldn't find yourselves in such unfortunate positions. His mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among his kind. The Jolak categorically deny any involvement with pirate elements. Perhaps your outpost simply experienced a containment failure, as one might expect from such primitive engineering. Laughter rippled through the assembly. Even species that had remained neutral in past disputes joined in the mockery. Elena stood motionless, her expression betraying nothing as the derision washed over her. Her hand tightened around a small metallic disc, a quantum communicator linked directly to Earth Command. I see, she said quietly when the laughter subsided. Then the Federation's position is clear. Humanity's concerns are dismissed without investigation. Our dead are mocked rather than honored. Our sovereignty is merely theoretical. The human misunderstands, interjected Ambassador Xurl of the Meridian Conclave, his translucent skin pulsing with bioluminescent patterns of amusement. It is not that your concerns are dismissed, it is simply that they are insignificant. The Federation has existed for millennia before you crawled out of your gravity well. Perhaps in another few centuries, you'll have earned the right to be taken seriously. Elena nodded slowly. Then, without further word, she pressed the communicator disc. It flashed once, then disintegrated into dust. May I ask what that was, Ambassador Kovacs? The speaker demanded. The end of patience, Elena replied. For 70 years, we have attempted diplomacy. We have followed your regulations, respected your customs, and abided by your restrictive technology sharing protocols. We have endured your condescension, your sabotage, and your mockery. That ends today. A sudden alert flared across the Assembly's massive communication screens. Emergency protocols activated as security systems detected unusual activity throughout the station. "What is the meaning of this?" Grand Counselor Stevarek demanded. "Exactly what it appears to be," Alina said. "Humanity is withdrawing from the Galactic Federation, effective immediately. We will no longer seek your approval, protection, or acknowledgement." The Vesperi representative, a being of living crystal and light, rose from his seat. "This is most irregular, Ambassador. The withdrawal process requires a formal petition, committee review, and a transition period of no less than 5 standard years." Alina smiled for the first time. "I'm afraid we don't have 5 years to waste. In fact, all human representatives, diplomats, and citizens have already been recalled from Federation space. The process began 6 hours ago." "That's impossible," the speaker sputtered. "Our sensors would have detected such a mass movement." "Would they?" Alina asked. "The same sensors that have failed to detect pirate raids against our colonies for years. How interesting that they suddenly should work when it matters to you." Alarms began blaring throughout the station. The Assembly's security chief rushed to the speaker, whispering urgently. The speaker's 8 eyes widened in shock. "All human diplomatic vessels have vanished from our tracking systems," he announced. "And we're receiving reports that human settlements throughout Federation space have gone dark. No communications, no energy signatures, nothing." Elena walked calmly toward the exit. "You should have taken us seriously when we came to you with open hands. Now you'll have to deal with what comes next." The Assembly erupted into chaos. Security forces moved to block her path. "You will explain this immediately," demanded Stevarek. "What have you done?" Elena paused and turned back to face the Assembly one last time. "We've simply done what you taught us to do, looked after our own interests. You dismissed us as primitive, as weak, as inconsequential. That was your mistake. Humanity has never been what we appeared to be. Are you threatening the Federation?" The speaker asked incredulously. "Not at all," Elena replied. "I'm simply informing you that the rules have changed. The Federation exists because all parties agree to its terms. Humanity no longer agrees." As security closed in, Elena tapped a sequence on her wrist device. Her form shimmered, then dispersed into particles of light. A hologram. She had never physically been present. On screens throughout the Assembly, a simple message appeared in every known language of the Federation. "The DC Pichoyan Indies Novo. Humanity is Tandis alone." In the days that followed, panic spread through the Federation. Human ships, colonies, and representatives had indeed vanished completely. Scans showed human worlds still in place, but all communication attempts went unanswered. More disturbing were the reports from military vessels sent to investigate. They discovered impenetrable energy fields surrounding human space, technology far beyond what humanity had ever demonstrated. Most alarming of all was the realization that no Federation intelligence agency could account for what humanity had been doing for the past 70 years. They had always seemed so transparent, so eager to share their accomplishments, their art, their culture. Yet now it appeared this openness had been carefully curated, a mask hiding something else entirely. One by one, the Federation's most sophisticated spy vessels and probes disappeared when approaching human territory. No distress calls, no debris. Simply gone. And still, humanity remained silent. The final shock came 3 weeks after Elena's departure. Federation analysts discovered that critical defense systems across multiple worlds had been subtly compromised, not damaged or disabled, something far more insidious. They had been studied, mapped, and left deliberately untouched, but completely understood. The message was clear. Humanity could have struck, but chose not to. Not yet. In the Grand Assembly Hall, the representatives of 300 worlds faced an uncomfortable truth. They had pushed humanity too far. And now, the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Reckoning. Exactly 1 month after humanity's disappearance, the Federation's Central Communications Network intercepted a transmission originating from Sol. After weeks of silence, the signal cut through every channel, overriding security protocols and translation filters across thousands of worlds simultaneously. The face that appeared belonged to General Darius Okafor, former military attaché to the Federation, and now, apparently, Earth's designated spokesperson. "Greetings to all sentient species of the Galactic Federation," he began, his voice calm but resolute. "I speak to you today not as a supplicant, but as a representative of a sovereign power that has endured your contempt for far too long." In the assembly hall, emergency sessions had been in progress for days. Now representatives crowded around display screens, their earlier mockery replaced by thinly veiled fear. "For 70 years, Okafor continued, humanity presented ourselves as you expected, eager students grateful for scraps of knowledge, technology, and recognition. We accepted restrictions on our development, limitations on our expansion, and taxation without representation. We did this not out of weakness, but because we genuinely believed in the stated ideals of your Federation: cooperation, mutual advancement, and peaceful coexistence." The general's expression hardened. "But while we played by your rules, we watched, we learned. We saw how the Federation truly operates, how elder races conspire to keep developing species permanently disadvantaged, how technological breakthroughs are suppressed if they might disrupt established power structures, how Federation peacekeepers conveniently look away when atrocities serve powerful interests." On the main viewing screen, the image shifted to show a massive orbital structure around Jupiter, a ring-shaped installation that dwarfed anything the Federation had ever attributed to human engineering capabilities. "This is Prometheus Station," Okafor explained, "one of 17 such facilities constructed in secret throughout the Sol system over the past 50 years. While we presented outdated technology to your inspection teams, our true research continued beyond your surveillance." Grand Counselor Steverick chittered in alarm. "Impossible. Our intelligence networks would have detected such construction." As if hearing him, Okafor smiled. "You're wondering how we concealed this from your vaunted intelligence services. The answer is simple. We didn't have to. Your arrogance did it for us. Your analysts were so convinced of our inferiority that they interpreted our deliberate technological misdirection as confirmation of their biases. When evidence contradicted their assumptions, they dismissed it as anomalous rather than reassess their fundamental misconception." The display shifted again, showing schematics of revolutionary propulsion systems, energy weapons, and defensive technologies, all developed by humans, all far beyond what the Federation believed possible for a young species. "We are not declaring war," Okafor stated firmly. "Despite everything, humanity still believes peaceful coexistence is possible. But that peace must be built on mutual respect, not domination and exploitation. We have disabled the pirate vessels that have been attacking our colonies, vessels we have definitively linked to Jolac Military Command, Meridian Intelligence Operations, and Vesperi Resource Acquisition Programs." Screens throughout Federation space suddenly displayed evidence: communications logs, financial transfers, command structures linking the attacks directly to high officials within the Federation government. "This information is now being broadcast to every world in the galaxy," Okafor continued. "Let your citizens see the truth of how their governments have behaved. Let them judge whether these actions represent the ideals you claim to uphold." In the assembly hall, chaos erupted as representatives realized the extent of the exposure. Private communications devices began chiming with urgent messages from homeworlds demanding explanations. "As for our terms," Okafor's voice cut through the pandemonium, "they are simple. Humanity will establish an independent alliance open to any species that wishes to join us. We will share our advancements freely with our allies. We will defend our territory and interests with unwavering resolve. And we will no longer tolerate aggression or exploitation, either against ourselves or others too weak to defend themselves." The transmission shifted to show a Jolak battle fleet stationed near the Rigel system, a fleet that had been sent to contain the human situation. In real time, viewers watched as the massive ships suddenly lost power, drifting helplessly in space. "Your fleet is unharmed," Okafor explained. "We have simply disabled their primary and secondary power systems temporarily. Your crews are safe, though perhaps uncomfortable. They will be able to restart minimal life support within the hour, and in 3 days, full power will be restored. Consider this a demonstration, not a threat." In the assembly hall, the speaker frantically tried to restore order as representatives shouted accusations at each other. Centuries-old alliances fractured in minutes as the evidence of betrayals and conspiracies became impossible to deny. "One final matter," Okafor said as the chaos unfolded. "We have identified the specific individuals responsible for ordering the attack on Proxima Centauri b, the murder of 78 innocent researchers and their families. Justice for these crimes is non-negotiable." The image shifted one last time, showing 3 figures: Grand Counselor Svarek, Ambassador Xurl, and Admiral Cathal of the Vesperi Defense Force. Beside each name appeared a detailed dossier of their involvement in planning and executing the attack. "These individuals have 24 hours to surrender themselves to human custody," Okafor stated. "If they are not delivered, we will retrieve them ourselves, and no power in this galaxy will be able to stop us." The transmission ended, leaving a stunned silence across thousands of worlds. In the assembly hall, security forces moved quickly toward the implicated officials, not to protect them, but to take them into custody. The Federation's own laws were clear about accountability for war crimes, though they had rarely been applied to members of elder races. 3 days later, a small human vessel appeared in orbit around the Federation Assembly Station. It requested docking clearance, which was granted immediately. The ship's lone passenger walked calmly through corridors that had once been filled with mockery of her kind. Now, alien representatives pressed themselves against walls to let her pass, their postures showing deference or fear, sometimes both. Ambassador Elena Kovacs, no longer a hologram but present in the flesh, entered the assembly hall to find it half empty. Many representatives had fled back to their homeworlds to deal with the political fallout. Others had already announced their intention to join humanity's new alliance. The speaker, his authority visibly diminished, gestured for her to approach the central podium, a place no human had ever been invited to stand. "The Assembly recognizes Ambassador Kovacs of Earth," he announced, his voice lacking its former condescension. Elena surveyed the chamber slowly before speaking. "I return not to rejoin your federation, but to extend an invitation. A new coalition of worlds is forming, one based on genuine equality, mutual defense, and shared advancement. Any species that wishes to join us as true partners is welcome, regardless of their technological development or military strength." She paused, allowing her gaze to sweep across the remaining representatives. "Humanity never wanted domination. We wanted only what you claim to offer. A galaxy where diverse species could learn from each other and grow together. Your Federation failed to deliver on that promise. We intend to succeed where you failed." A representative from a small, previously ignored species near the outer rim stood shakily. "And if we choose to remain with the Federation," Elena's expression softened slightly, "then that is your right. We will not interfere with truly sovereign choices. But know this. The era of exploitation is over. The strong can no longer prey upon the weak with impunity. We will be watching." As Elena turned to leave, Grand Counselor Svarek's replacement, a younger Jolak named Kithmorak, called out, How did humans advance so quickly without our detecting it? Even with secrecy and misdirection, the gap between what you showed us and what you possessed is inconceivable." Elena paused at the entrance. "Perhaps the answer is simpler than you think. You have all existed in a stable galactic community for millennia, advancing incrementally, comfortable in your established hierarchies. Humanity evolved on a world of constant change and challenge. Our history is defined by upheaval, by the need to adapt or perish. She smiled, not unkindly. You pushed us into a corner, thinking we would submit or break. Instead, you awakened something you never understood about us. Humans thrive under pressure. We are never more dangerous, more creative, or more determined than when we are told something is impossible. You told us we could never be your equals, and in doing so, you guaranteed we would exceed you. With those words, she departed, leaving the remnants of the once mighty Federation to contemplate a future they had never imagined. One where humanity, the species they had dismissed as primitive and inconsequential, now stood as the galaxy's greatest power. Not through conquest or cruelty, but through the very qualities they had been mocked for: adaptability, perseverance, and the unshakable belief that they deserved better than what they had been given. In the decades that followed, the human-led coalition of allied worlds flourished, while the Federation gradually reformed under the pressure of competition. The galaxy entered an unprecedented age of innovation and cooperation, all because the elder races had finally learned a crucial lesson: never underestimate humanity, and never, ever push them too far.